Hello Internet, AdoptedMike here, and in this video I'm going to be showing my, or giving my thoughts anyway, on the Steam Link. I just got mine in the mail today actually, and I wanted to shoot a quick little video, show you my setup and my testing, and so you guys can maybe make a more informed decision for yourselves if you are on the fence about this. It was a fairly cheap accessory. I don't know if that's the best word for it or not, but it's, you know, just this little box here. There's a ton of reviewers on YouTube showing off, but yeah, anyway, let's just get right into how it performs in my setup. So obviously plugging it in was extremely simple. I've just added a mouse, keyboard, hooked it up to a monitor, or it could be a television, depending. You gotta have an HDMI input, so I'm using a monitor here, and then hooked it up to a wired network connection, which for me goes to a switch, which goes to a router, and then goes to my gaming PC, and it's all gigabit all the way through. So anyway, when you plug it in, it you know, just comes right up. It kind of boots up, if you will, and now I've got what looks like the setup, so I'll go ahead and get this set it up and we'll give it a try. Now I will definitely have to say that was so much easier to set up than I thought. Literally what happened was I selected the language, the device rebooted, it came up and asked me which PC I wanted to connect to, which I already had Steam client running on my gaming PC, and I clicked on that. It gave me a passcode to punch it. You know, the Steam Link gave me a passcode of four numbers, and my gaming PC just came up and said enter the passcode. It made the connection and boom, it went right to here. So I found that, I mean, that was much easier than I expected to be. And now I have my Steam library essentially right in front of me. So wow, much better than I thought. Anyway, I'll load up a game here and we'll see if I can tell a difference. If I'm kind of curious. I wonder if I'll actually be able to tell that I'm not playing right in front of my PC, you know, and I am being on the wired network. Alright, so first thing that I have noticed is my gaming PC right now has the same display essentially, and when I move, it actually is moving on my gaming PC as well. So I actually tried, I can control it from my gaming PC as well too. So a little weird. It's almost like, you know, two steering wheels for one car at this point, but that's not a bad thing. It's just something that I wanted to point out. But so far I haven't noticed any kind of lag, although it's not filling up the full screen real estate. So it's something I'll have to take a look at and see if it's just a setting that I have off, or if this is what is to be expected. This is just a 1080p monitor, but it doesn't appear to be playing a 1080p. But like I said, I'll have to check in some settings and see what's going on with that. But the FPS counter in the corner there is at 60 frames per second. So basically this is just exactly all it's doing is beaming, you know, basically my controls over to the gaming PC, and then it's beaming the screen of the gaming PC to this monitor. So that's you know, it's a little more complicated than that, but at this point that's what I can tell is going on. But so far it looks good, but let me play with some settings and see what happens. So I think my configuration of my gaming PC is kind of at fault here, possibly. We've got my target resolution is set at 1920 by 1080, but my window size is 2560 by 1080, which is what I game on. I game on an ultra wide monitor, so that might be what I have going on there with the resolution. Plus Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain doesn't support 2560 by 1080, so it always looked different on my ultra wide monitor. Anyway, it didn't fill it up, so perhaps what's happening here is it's trying to display it it's displaying it on my gaming PC at 2560 by 1080, but when it comes back to here, it's 1920 by 1080, so it's filling, or not filling it in, it's making it fit in better. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. It has something to do with my monitor. However, it is interesting that NVIDIA GeForce GTX 980 Ti 3GB when the 980 Ti's are 6GB, but I mean, maybe that's just an odd reporting, probably nothing to really worry about. But I'm gonna try a different game, and see how that window size and then my active resolution, how that's affected in something that actually does support 2560 by 1080, and then see how that beams over to this device. So in the game currently that I'm playing, I mean, I am not noticing anything, or any kind of lag, or any kind of stuttering, or like I mean, it is perfect. It is like I am sitting in front of my gaming PC at the moment, and that I am actually playing Metal Gear Solid 5 from a completely different chair. This is much better than I thought it was going to be. I'm actually pretty surprised right now. I didn't think it was going to be quite this good, but yeah, so at least right here, this is perfect. So anyway, like I said before, I'm gonna play with some settings and see why it's not taking up the full screen. Yep, so I can already tell what's happening here is, since my gaming PC is in 21:9 resolution, that this, you see we got the black bars on the top and the bottom, so this is a 16:9 monitor, but since it's the 21:9 is what's being sent to it, that it's giving us the black bars on the top and the bottom. So depending on the aspect ratio that you're playing on your gaming PC, that does seem to affect the aspect ratio of what you're going to see well, like this device is only 1080p is the maximum supported. So that's something to think about. If you're gaming on ultra wide, you're going to have a different, your screen's going to look a little different, because it's just sending the screen over in that same aspect ratio. So hopefully that makes sense, but that's something to think about. Now, if I went over and changed my gaming PC to 16:9, then it will look funny on my gaming PC, but it will be perfect. Well, not perfect. It'll be no black bars on the NVIDIA, excuse me, the Steam Link, sorry. Which is exactly what I just did here. So now I've changed the resolution to 1920 by 1080, so the screen on my gaming PC looks funny, but on this it looks fine. So that's, yeah, keep that in mind. The aspect ratio will change. I don't have a 4K monitor currently to test how it would work if I had 4K set over there, but since the aspect ratio is the same, I would assume we would still get a full screen at 1920 by 1080 on the signal that gets beamed over to the Steam Link. So that's one thing definitely to think about, and also I've overclocked my monitor on my gaming PC to 75 FPS, and since, I mean, 1080p 60 frames per second is the most that Steam Link will support currently, it's obviously 60 frames per second here, and then, you know, just something else to think about too. Because I'm getting 75 on my gaming PC, I'm not going to get 75 on this particular thing, because it's just not, first of all, it's not going to beam it to it, and second of all, this is only a 60 hertz monitor. So there's a few little things to think about as you play on this, but anyway, I'm going to try this FPS and see how it feels. 'Cause sometimes FPS, you know, is the easiest one to tell if something is, you know, not working right, or there's a little bit of lag. Alright, so now I'm in Borderlands, and I am not noticing any kind of lag or anything like that. Everything looks good. I don't notice any kind of artifacting or anything. My mouse movement feels real good, feels very precise. Honestly, you would never guess that I'm sitting here gaming on something not much bigger than, I guess I'm not gaming on it, but anyway, I'm working with something not much bigger than a couple of decks of cards, and I feel, man, it feels good. I'm kind of surprised, actually. I was expecting just a little bit of lag, but everything is feeling pretty good. Of course, I am on a gigabit LAN, so that does make a little bit of a difference. Obviously, wireless would be maybe a little slower, like the NVIDIA Shield or something like that, but no, this feels great. So now for this test, I've got another computer on my network requesting files from the server. So I've got it requesting 10 gigabytes worth of files that it's copying from the server. So now I've loaded up the server, I've loaded up the network basically with a server and another computer talking, not my gaming computer, that's still only doing the Steam game in front of us. So let's see what if it affects it at all. It's not affecting anything with movement, and so far I don't see any artifacting. Everything looks real smooth. So I actually think the fact that I'm requesting this from the server, it doesn't appear to be changing my gameplay at all. So that's actually nice. I don't have any quality of service or anything like that going on, but I suppose if you did run into an issue there, you could just enable quality of service to prioritize the packets for the gaming PC and the Steam Link, which, like I said, I'm not doing. So the fact that we have file transfers going in the background, it must just be working around just enough in order to keep everything going. So yeah, that's my testing. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. As I was preparing for my conclusion, I noticed something that I did want to add very quickly, and so I don't forget in my conclusion. The box gets warm. It's definitely not hot, but it does get a little warm. I don't think it's anything to worry about. It's very tight, so I'm sure the case is going to be dissipating most of the heat. Like I said, if it's even worth worrying about. I don't personally think it is, but I wanted to point that out, that I probably wouldn't put anything, like if you had it like sitting like this, I probably wouldn't put anything on top of it because it may need, the surface area here to dissipate that heat. It's probably best sitting, similar like that to a television or something else, but just to keep, you wouldn't want to enclose this on all sides, because I think then at that point it might warm up a little bit. So anyway, yeah, now on to the conclusion. So to wrap it all up, this device here, for its price and size, I think this is actually a pretty neat device. While I don't think that internet streaming is here today, especially if you don't have a fast enough internet connection, that makes a huge difference. And I think a lot of the people don't have fast enough internet connections to have a very smooth gaming experience, especially for first-person shooters where you need that frame rate and you need that quickness of the mouse movement. But for in-home streaming, this little deal is man, this is a fantastic option. I was actually very surprised, especially when I put up some more traffic on the network. I was surprised that it didn't make an extremely noticeable difference. I mean, maybe my eyes didn't pick up a little bit of artifacting, or it added a few milliseconds of latency to it, but it definitely didn't, strike me as being, way too much, or it didn't catch me off guard, or it didn't make me miss a shot because of it. So this device here, I would say, is pretty darn solid for in-home streaming. And I feel like in-home streaming could be very valuable to a lot of people if you just happen to have a TV in a different room. Well, most people do. Or you want to game from your couch and play from your PC on your couch rather than lugging your PC into your living room. This is easy. This passes probably what most wives would allow too. I mean, imagine my wife probably would freak out if I rolled my gaming PC into the living room. But this one, I'd be surprised if she even noticed it after you put it next to the Blu-ray player. So the only things that I found that I didn't like about it was it would be nice if it had a headphone out jack. Other than, I mean, your audio is all coming through HDMI, so having a headphone out or an audio out port would have been nice, or a headset port. I could see that. That would have been a pretty cool addition. I could even, I mean, it's got 3 USB ports, so perhaps you can do something with the USB port as far as a headset. My ideal thought was, depending on how you used it, you might have a keyboard and mouse, or you might have a combo wireless keyboard and mouse and be able to use one, and then you could use a dongle for, say, like an Xbox 360 controller, stuff like that if you needed to. I understand that the Steam controller will connect to this. I'm not 100% certain on that. I don't have a Steam controller. If I'm wrong, definitely let me know in the comments below. But other than that, I don't think I would change too much about this particular box. It's got just about everything you need to get going. So yeah, I mean, for the price, this is a really neat option to game in your living room without having to run anything other than maybe an Ethernet cord, which probably most people have Ethernet in their living room anyway, because I definitely think you probably would want to run a wired connection just to keep the latency as low as possible. So anyway, this video was a lot longer than I thought. I actually kind of figured it would be a pretty quick one and I was going to be unimpressed with it, but I actually am impressed with this little gadget here. So if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. Leave your thoughts as well too. Yeah, so anyway, thanks for watching.